Hello and welcome back to This Week. My name is Maggie White and my guest this week is Assistant Professor Dr. Huseyin Isiksal. Well, we were having a really good chat, haven't we, while we've been off air as well, but we ought to fill everybody in.
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about the Annan Plan in 2004. What's really changed since 2004, do you think, that's going to make a big difference to these the talks that are going on now?
Yes, Maggie. Thank you for this question. That should be the question, should be asked, I think, because all right, 2004, as I said, we say yes, but we didn't get an award. So what's changed then? In 2014 or 15, we are expecting a new settlement or new agreement. I mean, when you look at what changes, we see that intentional factors play a main role. That why, let's say, external world is pushing towards a solution in Cyprus. That's another dilemma because for so long the Cypriots always, argue that it's we who are going to sort out this problem.
Yes.
But now, as I mentioned before, it's not our problem anymore.
No.
There are too many sides, that has to deal with this problem. So basically, summarizing, first of all, as everybody knows now, is gas.
Yes.
I mean, we got these hydrocarbon resources, but as one of my area of expertise, let me tell you this: that the gas that claimed to be having the Greek Cypriots have in Afrodite area is not that much.
No, I believe so. Yes.
And interestingly, it's only 3 years of Turkey's whole, gas spending.
Is it?
Only 3 years, So if you sell the all gas to Turkey, it will only last 3 years. So we are talking about something like $50 million, I mean, $50 billion. But as I said, it's not a big amount of money.
No.
So the point is that we are looking at we have to look it from a broader perspective. So there are other plans, other things that's going on in Target, which unfortunately cannot be seen easily, from from the approach of normal person. So what's going on is that, first of all, because I make this analysis, long time ago, and I remember like people were smiling when I talk about this, but then, when for example, Russia occupied the Crimea, I was the first one, that they called back because I mentioned this long time ago. What's going on is that, basically speaking, is we know that Russian beer woke up from its, winter sleep. Now the Russia, try to show the world that they are superpower again, and they are serious, So they started from their back garden, and now they will come closer to the hot seas, So this factor is very important, Russian factor. So against this Russian factor, we see that United States and European Union have their other plans, of course. I mean, some of them are reactionary, but some of them are on the plan for a long time ago. So what are these plans? First of all, they want to break gas dependency on Russia, because the Europeans are so dependent on Russians.
Yes.
And as you know, when Russia didn't give enough gas to the Europeans, like Ukrainians have a big trouble, Germans have big trouble,
Yes,
and the rest of Europe has a big trouble. So they want to break this. So the main way of breaking this dependency is so-called Eastern Mediterranean hydrocarbon resources. So what's going on there is that we know that in Tamar area, Israel has probably 10 times more reserves than Greek Cypriots.
Yes.
Plus we got Lebanese area, and plus we got Egyptian area.
Yes.
So it seems to me that United States has a wider plans, to unify all these countries through its, mutual dependence. Because, for example, when I teach liberalism to my students, the first thing I said that, liberals believe that, trade is the main thing in international relations, So when you make trade with other people, actually, you shift your loyalty.
Yes.
Your loyalty is not to your state anymore because people care more about their stomach than than their emotions, let's say. So where you fit, it's your home. So here, through this wider plan, America want to hit maybe 3-4 birds with one stone. So what they want to do is they want to make this, let's say, make Cyprus as a base of the gas, then reconciliate Israel and Turkey, which their relations are not good, for some time. So they want to make peace between them through this, gas project. Plus, provide support to the dictator of Egypt, General Sisi. So by this way, they can also control the radical Islamist group and Muslim Brotherhood. Plus, they want to make reconciliation between Lebanon, Israel, and probably Syria. So there's a wider plan.
Yes.
And in all this new camps, let's say, of course, USA want Turkey within the Western camp rather than Eastern camp, because we know that when we talk about Turkish foreign policy, we are talking about shift of axis, axis shift, where is Turkey moving towards more to Middle East than Europe. So in all these, problems, you see that, for example, why there was this instability in Turkey, all these tapes, all this stuff. It's also part of this global policy. At the end of the day, USA want to make Cyprus gas base. They want to create, let's say, a coalition of forces between Turkey, Israel, Egypt, Lebanon. And then they want to break, the European Union's, dependency, gas dependency to Russia. So this is one thing of the question. The other thing is, when we look at the, the point, what changed, since 2004 is, of course, the economic crisis in Greece and in South Cyprus. It seems to me so funny that we were also talking about this during the break, like on the negotiation table, the Greek Cypriots should be in a weaker position at the moment because Greece bankrupt. To whom shoulder you will put your head?
Nobody.
And the Greece bankrupt. Greek Cypriots is bankrupt. I mean, nobody talk about this. Only yesterday, our economic minister, let's say, wake up and said that now we are analyzing the Greek Cypriots debt, which seems like 50 billion euros, which is a huge amount, And then who will pay this, if there's a settlement? Now we wake up, he's saying, and then, we will try to put a special, let's say, articles to the future settlement. And, good morning, let's say, I mean.
Wake up world,
Wake up well,
This is a lot of money,
Exactly. So when you look at the Greek Cypriot sides, they bankrupt, actually. I mean, they literally bankrupt. Greece bankrupt, Actually, it is, connected. I mean, the bankruptcy of Greek Cypriots are completely related with the Greece bankruptcy because, simply stating, the Greek Cypriots bankers choose the easy way. All they did is they bought bonds, papers from the Greek banks, and when the Greek banks collapse, they automatically collapse, So that's the other thing, that why you shouldn't be dependent on one source only. Anyway, so the point is that we see that the Greek Cypriots should be a weaker position, but on the other hand, very interestingly, when they sit on the negotiation table, they sit like with their own pride, exactly, plus their pride and everything, which is very interesting. But in this aspect, we have to mention about that, like we have to know a Greek character a little bit, because they are perfect on lobbying.
Very good.
Very good on lobbying. Even if they bankrupt, their pride, they are, explaining themselves, expressing themselves, their introducing of themselves is different, That's something that we should be, underlined. And the other thing that I want to tell that, unfortunately, Turkey is divided into two, secular, non-secular, whatever. Cyprus, left, right, there are all these mechanisms are dividing us all the time.
Yes.
But when we look at the Greek side, they can be Marxists or extreme rightists, I mean, when it comes to Cyprus problem, they united as one.
Which is brilliant.
Which is brilliant. Which is a good lesson for us.
Power, yes.
Which is a very good lesson for us. But unfortunately, we, Turkish Cypriots, has maybe 99% we are familiar people. We have the same religion, language, habits, etc. Even the way we eat, we talk, everything is the same. We got such a big differences, on Cyprus issue. But when you look at the Greek side, even if in the past they killed themselves, because in 74, intervention, the first intervention was against Makarios, by the fascist junta, and thousands of people, I mean, the Greek Cypriots killed among themselves. So even if they have such a, hostility background, they unite as one when it comes to Cyprus problem. So that's something that we should really take a lesson, I think, from the Greek side.
We should, because that's very important. Because I've always said, their propaganda tool is unbelievable. Everybody knows where Cyprus is. They don't know it's the last divided city in the world, but they know it as Cyprus because they have so good at their propaganda, as you say.
Exactly.
And if everybody up in the north decided to stick together, you think we would have a much better tool at going forward.
Yeah. I mean, the point is that, this Republic of Cyprus issue is, I think we made too many mistakes as a Turkish Cypriot side. I mean, it's because international relations is like a law, I mean, we are like a lawyer. I mean, academicians are like a lawyer. This is what I taught to my master and PhD students, because even if your case is wrong, you can defend it perfectly and you can win the case. But in our case, which our case is right, unfortunately, we couldn't defend it.
No.
we couldn't defend it. I mean, I don't know. Our politicians needs to be blamed. Our advisors needs to be blamed, but we need to be blamed because our case is right.
Yes.
But we couldn't defend it. We couldn't explain it to the world.
That's very sad because, as you say, we are in the right and we do have a very good case to put forward to. But without standing together, it didn't come over.
Exactly. Let me tell you 2 points. First of all, Turkish Cypriots are sovereign people, and this is a very simple, basic, but effective argument. First of all, during the 300s of Ottoman rule, there was a different law system for Turkish and for Greek. The Turkish are under the law of Sharia law, which is only Muslims are subjects. And the Greek Cypriots has the other law. So what I'm trying to say is that there are two different people with two different law systems. Then you got British rule, and in British rule, there's an official documents. For example, Colonial Secretary Lennox Boyd, which is the highest official of all the colonies. He made a statement in the parliament, British Parliament in 1956, and he said that I can't see any reason why Turkish Cypriots shouldn't have a right of self-determination as we're trying to give to Greek Cypriots, he said. Because he said that Turkish Cypriots are only 40 miles away from Turkey, plus, they are living in this island for, more than 400 years. So I can't see any reason why they shouldn't have any, right to self-determination. So actually, he accepted that, the British officially recognized Turkish Cypriots' right of self-determination. And then Prime Minister Harold Macmillan, he also pledges, he accepted as a pledges that, the Turkish Cypriots has a right of self-determination. So we got all this background. In 1960, which is a perfect statement or perfect reflection of this political equality, because, as I said, it's a sui generis state where Turkish Cypriots keep their right. So the point is that we have this right. It's officially recognized under the fields of protection of international law, and we established 1960 Republic. And how come in 1964, where Turkish Cypriots kicked out from the government, we lost all these rights, and now we have no rights in terms of international arena? This is simply unacceptable. And of course, I'm saying that. Of course, international community, make unfair treatment to Turkish Cypriots. But again, we have to, blame ourselves. We have to question ourselves why we couldn't defend, why we didn't tell this basic right, to the people. Second point, the Greek Cypriots everywhere saying that they are Republic of Cyprus, member of European Union. Okay, so why we can't ask this simple question? Which Republic of Cyprus you are talking about? Is it 1960 Republic of Cyprus or 1974 Republic of Cyprus? When we ask this question, they say, of course we are 1960 Republic of Cyprus. So if 1960 Republic of Cyprus, then we have simple questions to ask. First of all, in 1960 Republic, do you ask Turkish Cypriot Vice President whether you want to be a member of European Union or not? Simple question. Because 1960 establishments, it's so clear. First of all, it says that if Cyprus, Republic of Cyprus, want to be a member of any union, first of all, they have to take consent from Turkish Cypriot Vice President. And secondly, Cyprus cannot be a member of any economic or political union where Greece or Turkey, Greece and Turkey are not members. Turkey is not a member of European Union. They didn't take the consent of Turkish Cypriot Vice President. So how come you can claim that you are a Republic of 1960? Okay, let's say that we are talking about the Republic of 1974, which is a unilateral Greek state. Okay, then they have to face up the second question. Then what prevents Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus to be recognized as a sovereign state? So they got this dilemma. They have to choose either way, and either way they choose, they will have a dilemmas, they will have a questioning. And our politicians, our representatives still cannot explain this point to the whole world. There's something very wrong on this problem.
I've always said, I think, because, that's one of the things I love about this part of the island is that we are very quiet, it's very friendly, everybody sort of gets on together, but we're not very good at saying, excuse me, we are here and this is what has happened. And I don't think the world really knows what actually happened here. As far as the Greek side, history from those years they wiped out totally. They didn't do anything wrong. I think somebody once said, they said actually it was very good weather those years. They had completely forgotten it. But the rest of the world didn't really know about it.
Exactly.
And now we have the gas, natural resources in the south. Now Cyprus is known, but it's not known what happened. You know, what all the atrocities that went on is glossed over in a way. And unfortunately, I don't think the publicity from this side was strong enough to explain what actually happened, that the world doesn't really know.
There, Maggie, you know, I mean, trust me, it's like we are a lazy student, you know, who is not doing our homework, you know. I mean, we have to do our homework, which we didn't. And trust me, this state, TRNC, has lots of money, you know. I mean, we spent the money for nothing, you know. But I'm asking these questions which still the authorities, our authorities, cannot answer. No, I got 2 PhDs, I got my master's, etc., etc. I never take any, let's say, scholarship from my government. I take from British government.
Yes.
And when the British government give me scholarship, they never dictate me that, you know, which they have to probably, you know, because they are giving money. Yeah? Yes. They can ask me that, no, we want to write on this subject. They didn't. They never asked. But my point is that in this country, I know hundreds of students, you know, unfortunately half of them failed, but lots of students who got government scholarship, big amounts of money.
Yes.
You know, they went to England, USA, wherever, and they did their research on a funny subject. I mean, I don't want to blame anyone, but like, you know, let's say Nelson Mandela, South Africa, you know, Japan. I mean, for God's sake, you know, we are a different country. You know? We are a very small community. Our resources are not limitless. Yeah. So I can understand why there's no thesis, PhD thesis, let's say, ever written about international law and Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, you know.
Yes.
For example, these kind of things, or the points that will really strengthen our hands. And let me tell you, because most of our academicians here who use the government resources, unfortunately, in their thesis, which is some of course about Cyprus, they are using like, you know, Turkish occupation, you know.
Yes.
They are not using TRNC. Do you know the reason? Because everywhere the Greek lobby is strong, you know, and they are saying that you can't use TRNC.
Yes.
You have to use it, you know, land under occupation, exactly. The same thing happened to me. One of the professors said, oh, you can't use TRNC, you know, all this other stuff. I said, no. Show me any evidence, show me any law where it says that I can't use TRNC. I don't believe it's occupation. It's a Turkish intervention.
Yes.
It's not an occupation at all.
Very different.
I used this terminology to a Greek professor, and they didn't say a word. They couldn't say a word, you know. So what I'm trying to say is that there, you know, we make many mistakes in terms of academia, in terms of policies, in terms of many things. So that's the one of the reason, you know, that we are here today. You know, I mean, we didn't do our homework, and now we are paying the consequences. You know?
Yeah. Which is very sad in 2014, isn't it? Yes. I mean, sad for everybody not moving forward, for our youngsters, as you were talking about the Olympics, you know, before, about not being able to compete.
Yeah.
Why? Just something like that, you know. The Turkish flag was burnt at a football match only last week.
Yeah.
That is absolutely unacceptable. At this stage in talks, everybody, as you said before, has to give and take a little bit. And at a football match, for somebody to be burning your flag is
that's not acceptable, Mike. I mean, look, I mean, one of the things that we can't see in this society is, although Turkish Cypriots are under meaningless isolation, we are really a globalized society. Seriously, I mean, if you told the Turkish Cypriots, you can't see anyone who never been in England, for example. Everyone been in England. Most of them has their relatives living in London.
Yes,
you know?
they do.
I mean, they have relatives living in Australia, New Zealand, USA. They've been in many wares, you know.
Yes.
Well, they've been in many wares because most of them has Greek Cypriot passport or Republic of Cyprus passport. Sorry, I shouldn't say Greek because it's our passport, for God's sake. You know, it's the Republic of Cyprus passport, Turkish passports anyway. So we are really a globalized society, you know. So this opened our views in many respects. Now, for example, when you look at the latest legislation that passed, you know, there are certain rights given to lesbians, gays, you know, which is, you know, very modern rights, you know. But I'm looking at the Greek side, which is, you know, have all this, you know, financial help, you know, all these advantages, all these, let's say, opportunities coming from the European Union membership. And very interestingly, their mind didn't change that much. You know, they still have this conservative outlook, you know, against the Turkish Cypriots, which is again, you know, are confusing me. You know, it's really confusing me because on one side we are becoming more sympathetic towards the Greek case. We are saying that yes, of course, you know, we should, you know, be tolerant on the circumstances, you know. But on the other hand, I can't, unfortunately, very unfortunately, I can't see the same sympathetic outlook from the Greek side, because they should know that there should be reason why these people stubbornly, very stubbornly, not leaving this island for 400 years.
Yes.
I mean, we got everything, war, isolation, anything you can imagine, but still, these 200,000 people stubbornly living in this island. There should be a reason for this, you know? Because Cyprus is our home, you know. I mean, that's where I call home, you know. Even I've been in many parts of the world, I never call anywhere home, you know. This is my home. This is home, you know. And they have to accept this. This is our home. And of course, we will do everything to keep our home. You know, I mean, it doesn't mean that. Yes, it doesn't mean that. You know, I mean, when I say we are ready to fight, not necessarily should be understood in terms of military fight, but you know, legally, economically, socially, this is our home. You know, and even the Americans, you know, United States of America, the people who immigrated there for 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. Maybe the oldest American is 100, 200 years. They are calling it home.
Yes, they are.
And we living in this island for almost 500 years, we cannot call it home.
No.
This is not fair. You know?
No,
this is not fair.
No. But I do sort of feel that you don't feel that the solution is sort of in the next few weeks.
Well, Maggie, I'm repeating. I believe that. I really do believe that. Turkish Cypriots are ready.
Yes.
I mean, we proved this during the Annan plan, and even all these years passed, although we punished, although we didn't award it, let's say, we still, I believe that most of the Turkish Cypriots are ready for a settlement, especially young generation. But on the other hand, I don't see any change on Greek side view, you know, and this is something, you know, should be underlined, you know. I mean, it's not the Turkish Cypriot who should change their position, but it should be the Greek side. And it's not that hard, trust me, you know. I mean, as I said that, first of all, they have to respect Turkish Cypriots.
Yes.
They have to respect them as a people.
Yes.
Okay. And they have to, you know, respect that this is our home. You know, we have right to live there as they do. And they have to be a little bit sympathetic that why, for instance, Turkish Cypriots are not trusting any of the United Nations or peacekeeping forces but Turkish soldiers. There's a reason about this, you know. I mean, all our experiences, not only in Cyprus, in Bosnia, in Rwanda, everywhere in the world, prove us that we cannot trust everyone, you know, for a peacekeeping. So that's why we are, you know, we want Turkish soldiers. And there are some reasons why we have red lines. And why we have to, you know, attach to that red lines. It doesn't come from nowhere. And let me tell you one other thing about this Turkish soldier stuff. I mean, when the Soviets occupied Poland, you know, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, blah, 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 they were seen as occupation force.
Yes.
In this country, nobody's seeing Turkish soldiers as occupation force, you know. There's a big difference among this. It's the Greek Cypriots who's defining the Turkish soldiers as occupational force, not we, you know. So that's something make a big sense, you know. And the other thing is that when you say that divided, you know, the last divided, you know, city in the world, yes, unfortunately, it's the last divided city in the world. But let me tell you that, you know, to the world that, I mean, Cyprus example is not a German example. No. That's the other thing. You know, the Germans, you know, one side occupied by, you know, by the Soviet, you know, East Berlin, West Berlin, but they were Germans.
Yes.
Talking about same language,
yes, they were.
Same religion, same history, same culture. We and Greeks are not the same people. No. We have different cultures, different religion, different language, etc., etc. But my point is that it doesn't mean that we cannot live together.
No.
But it seems that we have to recognize and respect our differences.
Yes.
That's
respect from both sides.
That's from both sides. That's how we can live together.
Yes.
But I'm repeating, we are not Germans. No. If we are Germans, there will be no problem. So we are not Germans. We are two different entities. We can live together.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Only if we recognize
each other
and respect each other's differences.
Yeah. Not difficult, is it?
Not difficult.
But it seems as if it's difficult. Well, thank you so much for coming on the
You're
program.
welcome. It was
It's
a
been
pleasure.
absolutely fantastic.
It was a
I've learnt
pleasure.
so much, which is lovely to learn something
Cheers.
from a guest.
Cheers. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, there we come to the end of this week's program. I hope you've enjoyed it. Lots and lots of interesting things there were today. And I will be back with you again next week, so enjoy your lovely weekend. Take care for now. Bye-bye.